everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Dragon Age Origins. I'm your host, Lisanne Faye, and I have our warden here in front of us, Phi Serana, and we are back at the party camp. And last time we recruited ourselves a new party member, namely Shale, and we dealt with the fallout on Alistos and for the Arl of Redcliffe. So, let's go ahead and catch up with some of our other companions. And let's start by getting to know our newest companion, Zebrin.
Here I am.
Alright. Care to answer some questions?
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Alright, where to start with you? Tell me about Antiva.
Oh, you wish to know about Antiva, do you? The only way to truly appreciate it would be to go there. It is a warm place, not cold and harsh like this Ferelden. In Antiva it rains often, but the flowers are always in bloom. Or so the saying goes.
Well... And it has assassins, apparently.
Every land has its assassins. Some are simply more open about their business than others. I hail from the glorious Antiva city, home to the royal palace. It is a glittering gem amidst the sand, my Antiva city. Do you come from someplace comparable?
I really... Well, you know what? My mother was better than any gem.
You have me there, indeed. I, for one, can make no such claim, as I never laid eyes on the woman. You know what is most odd? We speak of my homeland, and for all its wine and its dark-haired beauties and the lilo flutes of the minstrels, I miss the leather the most.
Now this I have to hear.
I mean the smell. For years, I lived in a tiny apartment near Antiva City's leather-making district, in a building where the crows stored their youngest recruits, packed in like crates. I grew accustomed to the stench, even though the humans complained of it constantly. To this day, the smell of fresh leather is what reminds me most of home, more than anything else.
You sound like you've been away from home forever.
Oh, not so long, I know. It is my first time away from Antiva, however, and the thought of never returning makes me think of it constantly. Before I left, I was tempted to spend what little coin I possessed on leather boots I spotted in a store window. Finest Antivan leather. Perfect craftsmanship. But I was a fool to leave them. I thought, Zevran, you can buy them when you return as a reward for a job well done. More the fool I, no?
Well, your home is still there.
True, and it's a comforting thought. One simply never knows what is to come next. How could I have suspected I would end up defeated by a handsome Grey Warden? A man who then spares my life? I could not.
You just need to make the most of where you are. That's what I've been doing.
Quite right you are. I see the Grey Wardens do not recruit fools. Now, if it is all the same to you, I would prefer not to speak more of Antiva. It makes me wistful and hungry for a proper meal.
Alright, so, starting off that relationship there. Doing decently well. Let's see how much further we can take this. Care to answer some questions?
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
What does it take to become an assassin?
Well, the crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training. The sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is a desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field.
So, you did quite well, no doubt.
Within the crows, I did. But it has been something the crows have devoted a great deal of time to perfecting. An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler.
Sounds like it could be useful.
See? Getting paid for the act is beside the point. An assassin is more a tactical choice than a lifestyle. Of course, the crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we?
Alright. Alright,
Here I am.
we have one more question.
Oh, this should be good. Go ahead.
Why did you want to leave the crows exactly?
Well now, I imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it?
But what would you rather be doing?
Now that you mention it, I am not entirely certain. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased. For 3 sovereigns, I'm told. Which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The crows buy all their assassins that way. Buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder. And if you do poorly in your training, you die.
That sounds kind of awful.
Oh, I don't know about that. The crows who are actually good enough to survive come to enjoy some of the benefits. In Antiva, being a crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth. Gets you women. And men. Or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining.
Think I can understand that.
As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go.
Alright, well, happy to have you along.
And here I am, happy to be had. Isn't it wonderful how things work out that way? Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so.
Okay. Alright, that was a nice little bonus. And our other new companion, Shale.
Oh.
Must you sigh? Like, really? How do I want to start this? Yeah, what's with the heavy sighs?
Oh, that. Merely reflecting on the hopeless nature of the task in front of it. The most likely outcome is that it and its companions will become a stain on some rock for the Darkspawn to tread upon.
Lovely.
I shall be moved to a single tear by the tragedy.
Glad to know you care, at least.
It's true. One single tear, and then it's off to the north, I think. Or maybe west. I haven't decided. What's that? Did it hear flapping wings? There may be pigeons nearby. We should be alert.
Oh.
Still with me?
Yes, its adventures are interesting, even if the chances for success are remarkably slim. It would be better to throw oneself off a cliff, I suspect. Does it wish me to leave? I can, though I see no reason to go.
No, stay. You're quite helpful.
No doubt. Without me, it would have to carry its inventory on its own.
Yep.
Perhaps we should continue. Its chances of success are small enough without further dawdling.
Okay.
Ah,
Would have expected golems to be different.
different? Different than what? Different than a statue? Different than a log? Should I talk in a monotone? Yes, Master, I exist to serve the Master. I shall kill for the Master and only for the Master. Perhaps it expected me to have a booming voice. Recite limericks. I can recite limericks, if it likes.
Let's have fun. Are they dirty limericks?
Mostly they involve slaughtering pigeons in creative and invasive manners. I have never met another golem. I have no idea what one might be like, or why I wouldn't be like them. Why? Has it met other golems? Did they not sound as I do?
I have no idea what golems sound like.
I don't know what other golems might be like, but I am already superior by virtue of my free will. This is a good thing.
I agree. Being a golem would probably be handy.
Imagine the benefits. No need to eat or sleep or perform other functions. Walk underwater, crush the heads of every opponent. The possibilities are limitless. Barring the occasional 30 years or so of paralysis, there's little to compare. Now stop talking so much. The wagging of its moist little tongue is distracting.
Aw, but you liked that conversation. Yay.
Ah,
I have questions.
it doesn't have better things to do.
Nope. Are those crystals?
I like to think of them as accessories.
But what do they do?
I suspect that it is an art that was practiced when golems were more, commonplace. My former master collected whatever lore he could find on the subject. He searched far and wide to collect what crystals he could and then added them. It is not an unpleasant sensation.
It's a dwarven thing then?
So I would assume. My former master enjoyed poking around the ruins in the deep roads after all, and bartering with others who did. As I understand it, the crystals allow me to alter the flow of magic around me. Wilhelm had hoped to turn me into a battery of mana, something he could tap at will.
But they can do other things too.
Some of the crystals increase the presence of mana, some absorb or reflect spells. There are various kinds. All I can promise is that should it ever find one of these crystals, I can likely tell it the function and what it would do if added to me.
Would you be willing to have more added?
Why not? I don't get to wear clothing and other adornments like the rest of you creatures after all. That answers its question, I assume? Unless it has more.
Let's not go near former master yet. How'd you end up in Onleith?
Oh yes, that I remember quite well. My former master, the Mage Wilhelm, he brought me. As I recall, he had acquired some position with whatever lord ruled the land. I, being little more than a glorified possession at the time, was brought along. Oh, how he enjoyed impressing the villagers with me. Gollum snarl at that villager there, be fearsome. And of course, I would have to do it.
I would have thought you'd enjoyed scaring the humans.
I'd have happily stomped them all into paste, and then ripped down their little houses and stomped on them, too. In
Too
fact,
far.
after 30 years of watching them, I'd do it twice. What I didn't like was being ordered to do it. Dangled in front of those frightened morons like some scary thing. Once I was a statue, It took those villagers years before they'd even approach me. The first one to actually work up the nerve to touch me urinated himself. Ugh.
You didn't like Wilhelm, I take it?
He did love using that control rod. Fondled it so much his wife actually threatened to throw it in the lake. Ha! I would have liked to have seen that. Which reminds me, where did it find the rod? Did it pay a great deal for it?
Sure, we'll make the golem seem that it's valuable.
Good. Clearly, I am worth it.
But why were you out in front of the tower?
That is where Wilhelm kept me. He wanted me out in the open where I could be frightening like a scarecrow. I was supposed to watch for thieves. Pah! Plus, his wife didn't want me indoors. She said there wasn't room for me. Hag.
His wife?
I was once larger, 10 feet tall. Then the loathsome hag complained that I couldn't fit through the doors. So the mage had me shrunk down. Can it believe it? And she still wanted me out.
How does one shrink a golem?
With a chisel. And a lot of nerve.
Yeah, I bet. What do you remember before Hunleith?
I traveled with the mage. He did a lot of traveling, I remember that. But where we went, it is rather fuzzy. I remember great battles, fighting many humans long ago. They were all very soft and squishy. And before that, No, there are only images. I was somewhere dark.
Just how old are you?
I have no idea. Wilhelm used to brag that the dwarves stopped making golems centuries ago. I do not age as you soft creatures do. Sadly, my memory is no better. Plus, I get bored and stop paying attention.
Fair enough.
Good. I was just about done talking about it. It does like to have a good chat now and again, doesn't it?
Yep. Okay. I think I can squeeze in one more conversation. I have some questions.
It doesn't have better things to do.
No, I really don't. So you watched that village day and night for years.
I do not sleep, so yes. And I thank it for reminding me.
Sorry.
Try to imagine, if it will, what it would be like to be surrounded by nothing but boring peasants, all oblivious to it.
Yes, that would be rather horrid.
And then there were the birds. A whole village full of pigeons and ravens and sparrows all perching on me day in and day out.
Sounds a little messy.
Those foolish villagers would spread birdseed near me, drawing the birds, because they thought having birds perch on me was quaint. Quaint! If there hadn't been the occasional kind soul to scour me clean, I don't care to discuss this anymore.
Alright, you're clearly upset. I will leave you. And go catch up with Morgan.
Yes?
Well, let's start
If
with
you
questions. So that's really all she seems to be.
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
Let's see. Old woman? No, she really... Nor does she seem human. Well, fine. Nutty old bat.
Sometimes I do wonder the very same thing. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
I didn't know there was such a thing.
Ah, I see. That does explain much. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
Sure, that sounds interesting.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
Well, just how long ago was this?
Many centuries before this land was even named Ferelden. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
So, he sold his wife to another man?
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
So she actually did love her husband.
That was not the point. Conabar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see, chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Which, she never invaded, or he never defeated her?
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
And do you believe her version?
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has coloured her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
So how's it she survived this long?
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
It seems weird to ask. The legend tells of Flemeth having many daughters, when Fi has said that he's never heard any legends in regards to Flemeth, so I'm gonna skip that one. And just say, an interesting story. Thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
Don't really know her, but I love her. What else?
Nothing. I wish to know nothing more. I find myself a little envious, to tell the truth. But it matters not. Let us move on.
Yay! Okay. Well, how else?
Yes?
What else can I ask you about?
Full of questions, are you?
Always. So, are you really her daughter?
I assume you were actually asking whether Flemeth herself gave birth to me. Truly, I do not know. I once asked Flemeth that very question, and she merely laughed at me. 'Tis not inconceivable that she could capture a chastened man, or perhaps change to a more attractive form to attract him willingly. I find it more difficult to imagine her with child.
She wasn't always as old as she is now, was she?
As a matter of fact, I remember her being younger once. She had black hair, much like my own, long and lustrous. But how could that be if she is centuries old? Has she become wizened only recently? Or are the tales of her legend only that, and nothing more? I do know the tales of Flemeth having many daughters, even though I have never met another, and Flemeth has always treated me as her blood.
So do you actually love her?
What an odd thing to say! Why must love enter into the equation? Flemeth taught me everything I needed to learn. How to survive, the meaning of power, the truth of men. If other mothers do not teach these things, then I believe them the lesser.
I suppose that's true.
You suppose it's true? 'Tis true. Take yourself. You do not honestly desire such things from me, do you? 'Tis better to be free of such cloying and cluttering delusions as love.
How to respond to this. Like, this is actually kind of a tricky response to do. But, sure.
There. I am glad you agree. I tire of this discussion. Let us move on, shall we?
Deal. Woo! More approval. Just what I need. Yeah, so, how much? Yep. I'm just about out of time for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. And in the meantime, in between time, take care, have fun, and happy trails.